This is the point I make to people all the time. When you want to get an idea of the scale of the renewable projects that this country will need if Labor's plan gets up, every time you see a large wind farm or a solar farm or the like, you've got to imagine at least 10 times as many of them, another 10 of those. So if you drive, for instance, between Adelaide and Canberra, you see a lot of wind farms. Well, there's got to be 10 times as many just in that area. Every wind farm you see times 10. And the other thing, of course, is 10,000 kilometres at least of transmission lines. I mean, the damage to landscapes, to farming areas and to native wildlife habitats is going to be immense, isn't it?
Well, that's right. And you forgot to mention critical mineral mining, rare earth mining. And the issue is that but the wind industry is going into these really remote areas, places that have been untouched, and it's fragmenting what we've got left, the remnant vegetation of our bushland in Queensland. And it's quite a brutal industry. A tremendous amount of civil engineering has to go into each of these projects. And like I mentioned, the Moa Creek wind farm.
I want you to tell us more about Moa Creek. That's a specific one that you mentioned at the moment. Where is that? How big is it? And at what stage is it at?
Yeah, well, Moa Creek, it's just west of Rockhampton. And that's a project where there'll be another 650 hectares of vegetation cleared. And that project, again, is up in the high elevation areas. It's a beautiful country, and in the ecological reports, the ecologists found three endangered plant species, or one endangered, one vulnerable, one near threatened, greater gliders, squatter pigeons, and it's those areas. These areas have existed because of the absence of development, and it's now those areas that are being targeted by this wind industry.
Now, you're obviously an environmentalist. Have you had any support from the traditional green groups, if you like, whether it's Greenpeace, whether it might be conservation foundations and those sorts of groups? Are they supportive at all, trying to stop some of these projects, at least in the most pristine bushland?
We've had a little bit of support. I know the Capricorn Conservation Council have got very grave concerns about what is happening there west of Rockhampton. You have to understand too that a lot of these conservation groups, are funded by state government, and I think that is a reason why we're not seeing much pushback by conservation groups against some of these projects, because they don't want to rock the boat with state government. Whereas I'm involved with an independent conservation group, Rainforest Reserves Australia, and we're not beholden to anybody, and we'll say what has to be said.
Good on you, Steven.
So some of these projects are just junk projects. Just going back to that Moa Creek project, that's only one of 27 in that region.
It's incredible. It is incredible, Steven. Thank you so much for drawing our attention to it and keeping on banging that drum. I'm certain that most Australians are gravely concerned about this. They know it's stupid. You can't stop all the projects, but we've got to be much more careful about where we put them and the scale of these projects. We'll keep in touch, Steven, and talk to you again.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Steven Nowakowski there, who's a photographer and environmentalist from Kuranda in Queensland.